Hey up everyone, welcome back to the Rugby League History YouTube channel. Today on the channel I'll be doing my tips and predictions for round 11 of the 2025 NRL season. Last week I got 4 out of 8 correct, however on another day with a bit of luck I could have got 7 out of 8 correct. And the first match to kick off round 11 is Newcastle against Parramatta. This one's being played at Marathon Stadium in Newcastle. In times gone by, Newcastle were always a bit of a bogey side for Parramatta. However, Para's kind of rectified that a bit. They've won 6 of the last 10 meetings against Newcastle in the league. And the last 3 out of the last 4 trips Parramatta's made to Marathon Stadium, they've won. So they've done a bit to get rid of the bogey team tag from Newcastle. Big news for Parramatta was Zach Lomax being named back in the team. And also Tony Matali. He's a player that I heard lots of good stuff about a couple of years ago. Going through the grades at Parramatta, he finally makes his first grade debut from the bench this Friday. Newcastle had a disappointing loss against Gold Coast last week. They were ahead by 20 points and got chased down. As for Parramatta, well, second week in a row they've lost a game through bomb tries and bad goal kicking, because they really should have beaten Redcliffe. They bombed 2 clear tries, and missed a couple of goals, and that's what cost them. One thing as well that I will point out about the Parramatta side is this is the first time this year that Zach Lomax and Mitchell Moses will be playing alongside each other. Obviously they did well in State of Origin last year. They'll be hoping that this can translate to club level, so we'll have to wait and see how they go on Friday night. Both teams have struggled in the league this year. This could be potentially a spoon bowl match come towards the end of the year if these two sides do meet again towards that time of the season. But look, I'll back Parramatta to win this game. Not confident, but I'll go for them to win by 1 to 12 points on Friday. The second match on Friday is Canterbury Bankstown against Sydney Roosters. This one's being played at Stadium Australia. Sydney Roosters have dominated this fixture in recent times. They've won 8 of the last 10 matches against Canterbury Bankstown. This is a huge game on the calendar for both sides. I consider it to be a rivalry. Obviously, for these clubs, it's not their primary rivalry, but these two sides go back a long way, and there's a lot of history between these two clubs. 181 matches played in total, 94 wins to Eastern Suburbs, 82 wins to Canterbury, and 5 draws. There have been a few grand finals played between these two sides as well, and lots of feeling. With Easts, they come into this match off the bye, and as for Canterbury Bankstown, well, they had a come from behind win against Canberra at Bruce Stadium. So coming into this match, Eastern Suburbs will be rested and refreshed for this game, having come off the bye. With Canterbury though, only lost 1 match this year, looking really good, looking like a team that's going to be there or thereabouts towards the back end of the season. It's really hard to go past them at the moment, and there's also a lot of State of Origin auditions on the line as well, so I'm going to go for Canterbury Bankstown to win this game by 1 to 12 points. First match on Super Saturday is Redcliffe, or the Dolphins if you want to call them that, against New Zealand. This one's being played at Suncorp Stadium. With Redcliffe, they had a narrow victory over Parramatta last week at Western Sydney Stadium. However, I will point out, if they were playing against a better side, I don't think they'd win that game, because when teams have chances like that to score, good teams, they usually put them away, and that was the difference at Western Sydney Stadium. As for New Zealand, they had a 1-point win over St George at Wynn Stadium. They're second on the table at the moment. They've won 4 matches in a row in the league. They're looking really good currently. And I just feel with how they're playing as opposed to how Redcliffe are going, you have to tip New Zealand, don't you? Because as I said earlier in this piece of the video, that if Redcliffe were playing against a more polished side, they wouldn't have come away with the win last week. So I'm going to go for New Zealand to win this game. I don't think it's going to be 13 plus, so I'll go for them to win by 1 to 12 points. And the second match on Super Saturday is North Queensland against Manly Warringah. This one's being played at the Queensland Country Bank Stadium in Townsville. Last week with Manly, they had a loss against Cronulla Sutherland in the Battle of the Beaches game. They fell short there in front of their home fans at Brookvale Oval. As for North Queensland, they had a 30-all draw against Penrith, and I believe it should have ended as a draw after 80 minutes. If you know me, if you know the channel, I'm not a fan of golden points. A draw should be a draw. Save this golden point shit to the finals where we need a result on the day. Manly's record at the new stadium in Townsville is quite good. They've won 3 out of 4 matches there. And also at the old Willow Sports Complex, or 1300 Smile Stadium, Stockland Stadium, whatever you want to call it. Their record there weren't too bad either compared to some of the other teams. They had 8 wins and 8 losses there at the old venue. With how both teams are playing though, North Queensland's been playing pretty well since they had a bad start to the season, but they've turned things around. Manly's form's been a bit up and down this year. So with North Queensland playing at home again this week, having a week to prepare in Townsville, I'm going to go for North Queensland to win this game by 1 to 12 points. And the third match on Super Saturday is Cronulla Sutherland against Melbourne. This one's being played at Shark Park. Last time out, as I just mentioned, Cronulla Sutherland had a victory over Manly Warringah in the Battle of the Beaches game there at Brookvale Oval. With Melbourne, they defeated West Tigers 64-0. And if you watched me last video, I spoke about Melbourne. They never really lose 2 games in a row, and the team that they play after they lose gets absolutely battered, and that were the case once again. Now, some people consider this a rivalry, Cronulla against Melbourne. I haven't done a video on it yet, are they rivals? I will get to that. But in total, there's been 47 matches played between these two clubs. 17 wins to Cronulla, 30 wins to Melbourne. Melbourne's won 7 of the last 10 matches against Cronulla in all competitions. And their record at Shark Park isn't too bad. They've played 17 matches there. They've had 8 wins and 9 losses. The question is, who's going to win this game? I would love Cronulla Sutherland to win this game. But I just have this vibe, I have this feeling that Melbourne's going to win. They're going to sneak it home. And they're going to come away with the 2 points. So I'm going to go for Melbourne to win this game by 1 or 12 points. And the first match on Sunday is Brisbane against St George. This one's being played at Suncorp Stadium. Last time out with St George, they had a narrow loss to New Zealand by a point. I saw that Shane Flanagan, the head coach of St George, was blaming bad goal kicking for the loss. As for Brisbane, they had another disappointing loss, this time against South Sydney, where they were expected to win. They raced out to a 14-out lead and they basically shite themselves, and they just weren't very good in particular parts of that game. They've lost 4 of the last 5 matches in the league. There's been talk about Michael Maguire and his coaching methods and all that caper that I've been listening to on Fox League. Ezra Mam's been reportedly named back in the team. I saw one of the highlights of the Queensland Cup game that he played, and although he looked okay, some of the defence in that game weren't very good, so it kind of made him look, I think, a little bit better than what he is in that particular moment. With St George, they've got their own problems as well. They've lost 3 matches in a row in the league, and this is going to be a bit of a tough ask to go up to Suncorp and play against the Brisbane side, who are under pressure, but they do have the talent to pull out a result. So it's a match kind of similar to the Newcastle and Parramatta game in a way, where both teams are sort of low on confidence, not playing very well, having moments here or there, but just not getting the job done. But I will back Brisbane, even though they let me down last week against South. I will back them to win this game. I'll go for Brisbane to win this game by 13 plus actually, so Brisbane 13 plus. The second match on Sunday is Canberra against the Gold Coast. This one's being played at Bruce Stadium in Canberra. Canberra in 4th, Gold Coast 15th. Last time out, Canberra, they'll be really disappointed with themselves, racing out to that big lead against Canterbury. And then the Fearless tag come back and Canterbury scored 32 unanswered points, I think it was, and won that game. As for Gold Coast, they also had a big comeback win against Newcastle. They were under immense pressure going into that game. There were talks in the media about Des Hasler and his future as head coach. And by them winning, it's kind of silenced things for at least a week. With Canberra, in a way that not only did they lose against Canterbury, but they were also humiliated in a way, especially head coach Ricky Stewart with the whole week go to dog thing in the press conference. The Gold Coast record in Canberra isn't particularly good. There's been 15 matches played there. They've only had the 5 wins since 2007 at Bruce Stadium. For them, Kieran Foran comes back into the team, but I think they're going to need a lot more than that, to be fair. I think Canberra's played them earlier this year and won. I think they're going to do it again, and I'm going to go for Canberra to win by 13 plus on Sunday. And the final match to close out the round is West Tigers against South Sydney. This one's being played at Campbelltown Stadium. Last time out with West Tigers, well, I really feared for them going against Melbourne. And I said in my last video that it could be quite ugly and it would be 13 plus. I didn't expect it to end up 64-0, but yeah, they were awful against Melbourne. And they were basically the sacrificial lambs down there. As for South Sydney, they were basically the Latrell Mitchell show. If he doesn't play, South Sydney don't win that game, simple as that. He kicked the 2-point field goal from 50 yards out. He scored, I think, 1 try towards the end. He saved 2 or 3 tries. He was involved in everything. See, that's the thing with Mitchell as a player. On his day, he's unplayable. He's very hard to stop. He's involved, but then performances don't come around week in, week out, and that's what the coaching staff and Mitchell himself has to try to fix in the future to be more consistent. Because when he is consistent, I mean, he can win South Sydney games just on his own, really. South Sydney's record at Campbelltown Stadium, they've only played 12 matches there since that venue opened in the late 80s. They've got 4 wins, 7 losses and 1 draw. The last time that South Sydney won at Campbelltown Stadium was on the 12th of June 1999 against Western Suburbs. So a very long time since South Sydney last tasted success at Campbelltown Stadium. For this prediction, I'm going to go for South Sydney to win, although I know West Tigers are going to be a lot better this week than they were last week. I just feel with South Sydney, that win would have given them a lot of confidence. Also, Mitchell would have got a lot of confidence from his performance. And if he plays anywhere near that again, and some of the other players around him step up as well, then I think South Sydney is going to win this game. So I'm going to go for South to win by 1 to 12 points. So that is my video for round 11 of the 2025 NRL season, the tips and predictions video. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know in the comment section below and let me know who you're tipping. Thanks to everyone that's recently subscribed, it means a lot. And I will catch you all later in the next video. Alright, tatty bye for now.